Hello and welcome to Failure and Analysis. I'm playing Blood Bowl 2 with my Dwarf team. This is Game 9 against Lizards. Another tough matchup. Ooh, I get 40k though. Look at me. Astaflix, don't know him. Ooh, he's 3-0-0. A Block Crocs, everyone's favorite. A Block Skink, everyone's second favorite. He's got one Journeyman. And 3 rerolls. I think I'll just take a Babe here. But yeah, so tackle's in the game for one purpose, and that's to counter, to hard counter dodge, right? And it does so in 2 ways. We were talking about this, I think, last night or the night before, but having a team that is full of tackle, which is a hard counter for everyone with dodge, is just crazy. Like, you want, at worst or at best, you want there to be slight matchup advantages, and then as you develop the teams, if one guy goes all in on one thing and the other guy goes all in on the counter to that thing, then there's like a hard counter. But that only happens because both coaches have made both those decisions, right? And development becomes a lot more interesting at that point because you want to, try to weigh being really specialized and developed a certain way, or being a little more diverse so that you can handle different challenges. But having the starting point of a team just be full of like a hard counter skill is so crazy bad in terms of like play pattern and fun for games. It just shocks me. Yeah, no Blocksaurus. That could be living the 1-in-9 dream. I gotta decide. No, I can't decide. He's just on the line. No decisions here. Yeah, Longbeards are super good loners, like with block. I mean, even Norse loners, right? Like, amazing. Like, Amazon loners, very good. This team. Just feeling so beat up. Feels really incomplete. Oh, that's right. Duh. Yeah, very nice of him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're just amazing. They do their full job. And loner is like, I don't know, with block, most of your loner needs are taken care of, and they got armor 9, so they can take an occasional double skull, right? Oh no, he's got 4 rerolls. Ooh! Love to see that. Uh-oh. Mighty blow on my AV8. Ooh, am I already through? I can start hitting skinks. I like it. Juicy. Juicy, juicy, juicy. What are you doing, MJP? Long time no see. Yeah, playing the dwarves. Death roller dwarves. Sorry, man, you brought your dodge to a tackle fight. There we go. A team where it matters. The bread and butter.
This is going to be enough to come out on top.
We were just talking about that. MJP. Or is that what you're responding to? Yeah, it's just that's one of those things that just baffles me. Okay, yeah, we were just talking about how that's the definition of a hard counter. And starting a team with loads of hard counters is so ridiculous from a game design standpoint. I got a babe. Guy just totally might come back. Ooh, I like this. Uh-oh. Ooh. Yeah, so what would dwarf builds look like? I mean, they'd probably put all their tackle on, you know, the troll slayers after they got them. If they turn them into killers, or the blitzers if they turn them into killers. And I was saying a couple days ago or whatever, a while back, if all it did was cancel the reroll on the dodge attempt, then that would be acceptable to me. It's still pushing it, but that would be acceptable. But having it be both the combat bonus and canceling the reroll is just too much. But that gets into why are some skills just loaded with consistent two-sided value and others be really inconsistent in really narrow situations, right? Like safe throw, 50% chance. You know, it's just like, and then you have block, which is just always works, is always amazing, works in two different situations, both sides of a situation that is, you know, above and beyond the most common thing that happens in games, right? The block. And it's just like, they were okay with this. Pushes. Pushes. Right. Well, yeah, dodge has two-sided value as well. That's why it's also like a super popular two-sided value, very consistent, and again, it affects the two most common things that happen in the game. What are the two most common things that happen in the game? The block and the dodge away. And so also just very, very good. the value it adds for the cost of one skill choice is unbelievable. And so, yeah, and so, like, if, so one of the things I think about is I think about what would I do if I were to make changes. It's like, should those skills be broken up a little bit, right? Should some of the skills that are infrequently used and and not as reliable, like save throw, be made more reliable to cover better that one situation that you get in once a game, to be more of a sure thing? And should things like block and dodge be broken up, right? Like, because there's lots of skills where it's like, if you fail at this, you get an automatic reroll. And yet dodge is that, affecting the second most common thing in the game, and also has this combat advantage. And so should those two parts of it kind of be split so that you have to make choices on, well, which do I care about more? So to bring, like, all of the skills some parity as far as, like, value. But yeah, in terms of, like, what do people currently take, it's hard to mess with that stuff without, like, a holistic approach to changing lots of different skills. Alright, I get to blitz. I get to blitz something. I want to blitz a skink. I also want to free up more dwarves. Can't free him up because he can get in here.
There's nothing better than hitting someone smaller than you, Jim.
Sometimes the underdog.
Yeah. I mean, Claw's the other sort of hard counter to high armor, right? So, surprise. It's also super valuable because it consistently performs in the most common thing done in the game. And that's all, like, when you talk about a game that has tons of variance, that's all, that's what people look for in a skill choice, is anything to reduce the variance. So that skill is the only thing that determines the victor. And so you just kind of get your calculator out, figure how much variance reduction you're getting out of a skill per game, and that sort of dictates. That's why things like kick are, debated on how much value they add. Because it's adding value, sure, but it's only once in the game. And it's really hard to quantify, was that the difference between a touchdown or not? And sometimes it certainly is. But how much more so than just a lucky kick that was doing the same job? And so people are like, I don't know. The answer is probably just more block. Mathematically, it's probably just more block, more guard, more dodge, Mighty Blow, more claw.
That's a holding right there, so
Come on, guys. Together.
Wow, I didn't even see that dodge. That's terrible. I'm not paying attention. Exposing my ball carrier.
the carrier himself looks. That's really risky.
Well done. We got the ball here.
Yeah, I think claw is, I mean, great from a design perspective. I mean, we can talk about the balance of it. But the fact that there's a counter to high armor is totally acceptable, right? Because look how many times you face low armor and it's just it's just all TV bloat. So I think that design idea is fine. The thing that bothers me the most about claw is that it's mutation access, right? It's not something that all teams can access, right? Because high armor is not a problem that only certain teams experience. It's a problem a lot of teams experience. So why not give access? You know, like in the interest of like tons of teams have tons of options on how to build their teams and different play styles that create situations where you feel like you suck against certain teams, and so you want skills to sort of compensate for your lack of ability by just turning the dice in your favor. And it's like, man, I really suck with elves against chaos or whatever with those armor 9 guys, and it's just like, all right, we'll get some claw and put it on your war dancer, you know, go to town. And that could be, you know, your thing. That could be a thing. But it's not, because claw's limited to 2 heads is another one. It's just like, why are only mutation access teams the ones feeling like they can't dodge very well because of their low agility? I mean, thematically it makes 0 sense that you have 2 heads. So that could be easily transformed into something that makes a lot of sense. Put in the agility tree and let Agi 3 teams have access to it, or even Agi 2 teams, so that when they pick up dodge or start with dodge, they can access it. I don't know. These are the kind of things that are like development decisions. When I talked in another stream about the difference between a designer and a developer, that just kind of didn't occur to Cyanide as they were making the teams and the skills and all that. Yeah, and Artemis, Blood Bowl is trying to emulate rock, paper, scissors. that's a classic design, you know, starting point, right? Here are these teams that are good with this, and here's the thing that counters it. But they counter something else in turn, it, you know, creates that classic rock paper scissors, right? So totally fine with that approach, it works. But the execution of that idea is really poor in this game.
That's a solid formation. I want to see the opposing team have a go at the ball now.
And not all of that is to, you know, I can't lay the blame at certain skills. I mean, it's a bigger picture when I talked about like the passing game being sort of a failed mechanic in the game. That's a much bigger problem. I think rock, paper, scissors would be a lot more interesting and diverse in teams if the passing game were a thing, right? But it's not, so that was a really good hit. Have I blitzed yet? I have. Didn't make any progress, that's sad. I really should focus. Yeah, linemen are in that weird spot of like, yeah, dwarf linemen are insane. And I'm okay with the team. Like, obviously, that problem isn't specific to dwarves. If you think of like all Norse linemen have block, so they're also very good. But yeah, in terms of like, so the problem I see it is really twofold. One, block is just way too good at a skill choice compared to everything else. Not everything else, but most things, right? There's about 5 skills that are in tier 1 plus, and tons of skills.
Yep, I reckon that's what he'd say. Having good talk.
All hail for that team.
And then a ton of other skills that are just too situational and ignored, and that creates this problem with diversity on like skill builds and team builds and whatnot. But if block were more in line with other skills, so it were one of 20 skills that were worth taking instead of one of 5, then a bunch of linemen starting with block wouldn't be as big a problem, right? Because, you know, a team full of linemen with any of those 20 skills could just add to the diversity and well, this seems clear. Start with the loner, you know, classic move. See, this is what you didn't do, Artemis Black. I mean, you won handily, so it wasn't a problem, but yeah, just get me talking, honestly. And I will forget all about the game in front of me. Oh, this is so difficult. I want to hit this guy a bunch. Ooh! Ooh! He's out of the way. resume the thought I had, if I can remember. Potato time! Alright, now I can hit him, or I can hit him. I guess he's the only one that can really cause me problems. So we can get a 1 die, these two. Nice. Yeah, so I think block across the board on lineman is only really a problem because block is just too great a choice. Like no one's screaming about leap on all the linemen, leap and very long legs on the lineman for Kislev because those skills are just meh, you know, like they can be pretty good at times, but and so if all the skills sort of fit in that category of, yeah, there's a use for this and it's occasionally great, but it's not like it's defining the game so much, then you could have lots of different types of linemen that all have sort of different things and all would be well with the world. The dumbest thing I've done. Oh, that's glorious though. So I really do think the problem is not necessarily that. I mean, it's twofold. One, they all have a skill, and but that skill is just too good, too usable, too variance reducing. Adds just way too much value to a team. I know, look at that. 2 level ups. KO back. I'm gonna want him back. Yeah, I forget about break tackle quite a bit too, Artemis. Yeah, which pains me because I tend to want to use the death roller on offense, which means I don't get to use him on defense, and he is really good. You know, cage diving, right? And a thing the opponent frequently forgets. And they just let your death roller in sometimes. Ooh. He has 2 turns to get this in, unfortunately. He only has oh no, he has 2 skinks. Okay. Well, there you go. I should have blitzed. Then I could have one-died the Crocs. Instead, I get to just take it. Yeah, but so the way the game is currently, the way the skills are and whatnot, like if no changes can be made in terms of skills, I do think tackle across the board is ridiculous. I don't know if I'd go as far as what you're suggesting, MJP, getting rid of block and tackle on their linemen. I don't know, I guess you have to ask yourself, what is the identity of the Dwarf team? And I mean, it has to probably be really hard to hurt, right? That's their sort of core thing. So to achieve that, is armor 9 and thick skull enough? Or do they sort of need block as well? Because they're not winning the strength race against a lot of bash teams until they've fled the field with guard.
One player. That's a gap to be filled. Despite being in the lead, this team now has to kick the ball to the losing squad.
They'll want to get it back as soon as they can.
I guess I should save one of these setups at some point. Did I get my guy back? Ooh, I did. I did. Excuse me. Oof. Like, I think the Norse are in a really good spot. Their identity is glass cannon, right? So they have a lot of block for hurting things and protecting themselves somewhat, but knock them down, they can't wait to get off the field. So and without block, they just kind of turn into Skaven linemen.
I prefer the passing to running down. One tactic is for the intellectual elite. The
And so it's like, it's part of their identity, it's part of their shtick, their kit.
Players about to get punched above and below at the same time.
But yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough to make changes in this game. It's been around for so long. And been pretty resistant to changes, especially in the last 10 years. Mostly because nobody's working on it, but... Also just because of the history, like, it's... Let's go kill a skink. Get out. Boo. Yeah, the bread and butter. Good old bread and butter.
This is going to be enough to come out on top. I admire that one. It paid off. Good old fun.
No safety. Playing with fire.
Standing there, truly.
Here comes the handoff. The thrower's best
Yeah.
luck.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, dwarfs are like walnuts. Easy to stand on. Still kind of hard to crack the shell.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
More the merrier.
Gotta punch a skink first. Yeah. Ooh, the loner's gonna be the hero? Alright. Oh no, there's no assist cancel on this, so it's a one die. No. I also just moved the wrong guy. Why am I so bad? Sure, why not?
That's a T and R. Those less educated amongst you, that signifies a great feat of ineptitude.
I'm okay with that though. A quick score. Let's see if he gets two guys back though. It'll be a game. But he didn't, so. 6 turns.
It's hard to come back from. You'll need some sun.
Both of these teams are on the edge. Each kick is crucial. And there won't be an issue.
They're gathering around that little player, like halflings round a sandwich. The attacker has an assist.
Yep.
This player, the attacker, smells weakness.
This is going to be decisive.
And he took hold of the ball like an over full tank.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a good base. Unless I go there. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there blood and you missed it? Let me check. I definitely hurt one of the... Nice. Yeah, there's a skink. Oh, that's right. My loner smashed him, I think. Was it my loner? No. Woot! Thanks for the bits. Guess you could still base me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Yeah, didn't it used to keep the blood spots around for the whole game? Was that a Blood Bowl 1 thing? Bonehead. Alright.
I think he's moving. No.
Woot! Smooth.
One less annoyance to me.
Yeah, Bonehead's Pretty rough. It's definitely a skill. You have to learn when not to use them, right? Like that juicy 2-die block isn't always worth the position he's taking up and having like 2 or 3 guys in his tackle zone and that kind of thing.
He's about to get punched above and below at the same time. This player likes to be worse.
Oh, that was foolish. I guess I could still... Yikes. Went too far there. I have enough time to slow down a little bit. Yeah, I mean, some guys are more important than others. The Crocs is actually pretty critical to what the lizards have to do, which is protect skinks. Yeah, so foolish. But yeah, you see a lot of chaos teams not take the minnow, chaos dwarf teams not take the minnow. So, woohoo! I think the Beast of Nurgle is really important. Obviously, the Underworld Chaos Troll really important. The Wood Elf Tree debatable, but a lot of people end up taking it. Beast of Nurgle and the Crocs, though, I think are pretty standard. You talking about big guys in general? Yeah. Yeah, the trick is just not to rely on them on big plays unless you have no other choice, right? Like, a lot of times, like with the Beast of Nurgle especially, like tentacles and strength, and you get stand firm on him, and a lot of times his job is just to run up next to some elves and keep him from dodging away. You can take you can take catchers out of the game for the rest of the drive, you know,
If the player is pushed,
because they can't easily knock him over or push him.
fans are much more dangerous.
And you just sit him there. Like, you don't have to try to kill the catchers with him every turn. So once he's parked, you just never touch him again. And he's doing a great job. And he's extremely valuable. But yeah, if it's like, I see a lot of new Chaos players, and they take the Minotaur, and it's like, okay, and they start the turn using him, and then he fails, and they get super frustrated, and man, oh man. Attaboy, just keep knocking him down. Need a push here. Yeah. Ooh, I'll take that though. That's fine. That's just fine. Ooh. A stun, that's good. Last reroll. Oh no! I don't know if I can make it. Yeah. Yeah, diving tackle is pretty nice. You can do it. He's got the reroll. Woot! How you doing, Gar123? Yeah. I mean, the hot debate is Mighty Blow or Claw. And across an even playing field, Mighty Blow is way better, not way better, but mathematically better than Claw, except against Armor 9. And so, if you're facing constant Armor 9, then Claw is better. But it's very rare that you're facing constant Armor 9. And by that I mean almost all the Bash teams have Armor 9 somewhere, but you're hitting with your killer every turn. Probably something that's not Armor 9, right? Like you're hitting Beastmen or Rotters or Zombies or whatever. You certainly can hit the Armor 9s, but if you take Mighty Blow and you just stick to the numbers game, then Mighty Blow is still probably better. And you just have to be more disciplined with your target selection. But yeah, if you're, dwarves are sort of one exception if you can't get to their squishy armor 8s. That's right. Clutch dwarf pass. See? He's still alive. He's going to catch it in the tackle zone, dodge away. It's going to be great. But yeah, Mighty Blow, frequently taken before block on the killer. That's pretty common. But Claw isn't necessarily a bad choice. And if it's your intention to always hit armor 9s, then that's fine. But if your goal is to just get numbers up, then mathematically speaking, I believe, and I haven't reviewed the math or anything like that, but I believe Mighty Blow against armor 8s or below is just better. So whenever you can get that, take it. And those are your best chance for
The holes in the dwarfs rather big and ungainly hands.
I so got this.
The last minute pass. But will it go anywhere?
That's really shocking, actually. I was pretty sure of that.
So, the final score is a 1-1.
I thought that was in the bag.
Any further thoughts?
I need to go to the toilet, Jim. That's all I've got to say about that.
Hey, Blitzer leveled. 13 armor breaks to 4. Pretty good. The armor held. I felt pretty dwarfy. That's right. Dwarves couldn't pass. Officially broken. I completely lost that game by exposing my runner to the Crocs hit. That was really bad. Game. Points losing. Mistake. But hey, we can't all play dwarves as good as
Enemies.
Yes, indeed.
Manile and
Victims, anyone you like.
whatnot.
All comers, or even alone, against AI coaches. And I don't mean by that an intelligent bus.
Yeah, and those are, yeah, lots of armor 9 there. Dwarves too, a lot of dwarves. Yeah, I mean, Claw isn't a bad choice, but in an environment where it's just all armor 9, all armor 9 all the time. And yeah, the bash is heavy right now. Ooh, Check's Quest. Nice little level up. Oh, Check's Quest. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see? He's basically a mini death roller is what he is. Gotta put him in a special place. Check's Quest rocks. Yeah. Death Roller and Death Roller Light. That's what we got there. Let's see what we get with the Blitzer. We get some guard.
I've seen this in a splash. More
I
than
like
said
guard.
every fight. You just can't trust sources.
A runner. I don't know what to take here. Maybe leader. Or pass to fix his deficiencies. Kick off return. please. You feel like a leader? Yeah, alright. I can buy that. Definitely buy that. You are a captain after all. Look at this team. Now I don't have to buy a third reroll, so there's that.
What past don't X3 sponsoring the sport when you were playing ball?
Well, polishing pre-manufacturer? No. I have no idea where these guys came from.
Can't found by Dark Elves. Well, yeah, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate a gang foul. All right, that was game 9 versus Lizard. Got a draw, but lots out of it. Strength up, one more guard, and a leader. So we're min-maxing a little now. 1350 with 12 guys, but I don't need any more re-rolls. I don't need any more dudes. I do need a stadium upgrade, but that won't add to the TV. And so it's just kind of all guard from here on out. And then we get really annoying with Stand Firm and Mighty Blow, and yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, Gar. So anyway, that was game 9. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and come follow me on Twitch. And I'll see you soon for another game.